Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we are doing my regular season preview and prediction for the Chicago Bulls. And if you guys have not seen this before, this is like my third or fourth year doing this. We go through and we talk about the entire roster, Billy Donovan, and the coaching staff, and just everything that's surrounding this team heading into this season and what we expect for them. First off, I think they did a really good job of, going out, keeping Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, bringing in Jevon Carter to really shore up that point guard rotation through committee until, hopefully one day Lonzo Ball comes back, because people forget how good they were with Lonzo Ball before he got hurt. Now, let's get right into this and just talk about this team that, obviously the duo, Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, the two great players. This is also a team that needs to get better at three-point shooting. This is a huge year for Patrick Williams, if he's going to, take a big step or not. And Nikola Vucevic, who's a guy who, since he's came over, it's not that he's underwhelmed. He's been consistent, but it just hasn't taken the team to the next level. And of course, Alex Caruso. So I want to hear your thoughts before we start today's video. What do you guys think? And let's get right into it. So let's just talk about this roster and what they have surrounding their current team. And so the current roster for the Chicago Bulls heading into training camp, which starts October 2nd, is Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, who's going to miss the whole season, Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, Patrick Williams, Alex Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu, Jevon Carter, Andre Drummond, Dalen Terry, Torrey Craig, which was a great signing, Terry Taylor, Carlik Jones, Julian Phillips. They have Quentin Jackson, Henry Drell, and Max Heidegger, all on exhibit deals, like training camp deals. And then Onur Alp Bitim, who I think is going to be a great player, Turkish athlete, on a two-way. Same thing with Justin Lewis and Adama Sanogo. So I really think those guys are all going to be, guys down the road, maybe one or two of them can make an impact this season. But right here, as you guys have seen on the screen, shout out Hoop Hype for this, is a key. The yellows are non-guaranteed contracts. The purples are two ways. And then the red is for who's, injury reserve, whatever you want to call it. But the expected starting lineup: Ayo Dosunmu, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams with Vooch. Six man is probably going to be three six mans. Jevon Carter, Kobe White, Alex Caruso, I think are going to be the three guys who come off the bench, but depending on the matchup. Okay. If you need a little bit of 3-and-D, Jevon Carter. If you need a little bit more offense, Kobe White. If you need strictly defensive, multi-positional versatility, Caruso, because Caruso can kind of play like a swingman. Torrey Craig, obviously, he's going to be backing up Pat Williams and DeMar DeRozan, Drummond behind Vooch, and hopefully Dalen Terry. He's a guy who can play 1 through 3 in theory. We just don't know if he's going to be there or he's going to be able to do that. And the big thing with this team is, Billy Donovan, I think, is a good coach, and this team had a good defense, and hopefully that defense is going to carry over. But Billy Donovan is a guy who, his philosophy, what we've seen over the years with the Thunder and with himself, is he's a guy that I think he does a great job of teaching guys how to react and read what's going on and how to put, defenses in difficult situations. But I think it's also, he's done a good job of planning out his offensive touches. He's done a great job at building a good offensive system. And just in general, his philosophy with this team, what we've seen over the last few years, where, he won 2 national championships with Florida, and then in 2015-16, he came over. And this is a guy who, it seems like people really like him, where I think Donovan has tapped into the physical gifts of his Bulls roster, which, making this team disciplined on defense, using their length and size and athleticism to be a good defensive team that generates missed shots so they can put guys out in transition on the break and let them do what, this team can do best, is run the floor, fill open, and space the floor. And this, this team has had good defensive identities in the past, so it can get carried over into transition. And I think when you look on the other side of the floor, when you have offenses that are believing in spacing, passing, putting pressure on the defense to make difficult decisions, that selflessness needs to be carried over. And that's why I think they got a bunch of guards, because they'll help them create the advantage in situations and mismatches that we saw with Shea, Chris Paul, and Dennis Schroeder a few years ago before he left the Thunder. And we've seen the offensive areas where Billy Donovan's cohesion and communication have thrived, where he's allowed dynamic scorers like Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan, who are good playmakers, be able to, work effectively. And at the end of the day, I think this is a team that does a good job of fostering, different types of talents and are going to be able to take advantage of being a different team than other teams. So I do want to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section. What do you guys expect from this team? Right now, my expectations from this team is I think Billy Donovan's job is safe. Like, I honestly think the roster construction of this team is a bit janky, because I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm gonna be honest. They have it. It's hard. They technically only have a 7-man rotation, because you can't play Javon Carter, Kobe White, and Alex Caruso. Like, are you going to tell me that your second unit's going to be Javon Carter, Kobe White, Alex Caruso, Torrey Craig, and Andre Drummond? Like, that's just kind of a small lineup. I mean, it could work in theory. I just think it's difficult. I could see that Caruso ends up being the guy who ends up playing the most, and Kobe White could be a guy who ends up getting traded. It's also crazy to think about that Kobe's making $11 million a year. That's so funny. He's making 1. But I'm definitely intrigued to hear everyone's opinions right here. Because unless he's expecting that these 3 guards, and because like Caruso, by the way, I want to make sure people are understanding. I'm not trying to throw shade at Alex Caruso at all, as he's someone that I really like. And he's a guy who, I want to make sure I get his measurements correct. He's a guy who stands at 6'5", so I guess he could play the wing position. I mean, he's a tireless defender. It's, you can just hit a decent 3-point shot. I guess you could. Maybe he is trying to have his second unit be like a mini version of that Thunders, where, okay, starting is, DeSumo, LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and then we're going to have off the bench this 3-guard lineup that's going to push the pace and, make the defense not know what to do, which, I mean, in theory, is not a bad idea. I don't blame him if that's going to be the philosophy for this team, because it's one that I think could really, really thrive. And I want to hear your guys' opinions. What do you guys expect from this team and why? But yeah, comment down below if there was anything else I might have missed or anything along those lines. But I want to hear your opinions in the comment section while you're here. If you made it to the end of the video, you clearly like my content, hit that like and subscribe button. It'll mean the world. But I do think this is a team that, has the possibility to be better than what they are being portrayed as. And again, I think anything lower than a top 6 seed is a disappointment. So hopefully they end up being a top 6 seed and Billy Donovan doesn't get fired.